77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts, including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
The Dr. Sky Experience.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
At 6 minutes after the hour, you're with me, Dr. Sky, with the Dr. Sky Experience as we move through time and space with hour number 2. Always great guest. If you're joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you a lot. You can get in touch with us for what we like to call dialogue. Your questions and comments at 1-800-848-9222. That's 1-800-848-9222. And if you'd like, of course, we encourage you to do that. Go to our podcast archive proudly with other great radio hosts and podcasters at WABCRadio.com and RedAppleAudioNetworks.com. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the people behind the scenes that are doing this. We thank Tony and Bill. They're our helmsmen. They're navigating the powerful signal of 77 WABC across the nation, the world, and out to the cosmos, I'm sure. Again, a reminder, the extension of the Dr. Sky Experience, and we're appreciative of owner and operator John Katsimatidis and the executive staff for giving me an extra 2-hour opportunity, and that occurs Saturday evenings, midnight, Eastern Daylight Time to 2 a.m. Sunday, so we can carry on the great conversation with you, the listeners, of this well over 104-year epic radio station. It's interesting as we get back to our traditional beliefs here in the subjects of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather. Many believe that Stephen Hawking's dire prediction of human extinction on the planet Earth by 2117 may be right. Why? The rapid pace of science and technology has far outrun our civilization's social and political capabilities to control them, making for a most uncertain future. The 20th century's brilliant nuclear technology created atomic weapons. The 21st century's dangers are from AI, genetic engineering, social media, and plastic pollution. And over the decade, our very special guest is here to raise awareness and urgency in humanity's efforts to confront the technological threats that Stephen Hawking warned could lead to our demise. During this hour, we're introducing Dr. Peter Solomon, a scientist, educator, successful entrepreneur, and author. His current mission, to warn the next generation about the threats posed by unchecked science and technology. After earning his Ph.D. in physics from Columbia University, Dr. Peter Solomon launched a distinguished career at the United Technologies Research Center before founding 5 companies: Advanced Fuel Research Incorporated, Online Technologies Incorporated, Real-Time Analyzers, Inc., Image Insight Incorporated, and the Beamer, LLC. The technologies included clean fuels, process measurement, radiation detection, and science education. 4 of those companies are still thriving today. He successfully sold one for $23 million that is merged into MKS Instruments. Over his career, Dr. Solomon has been awarded 20 patents and authored more than 300 scientific publications and served as the principal investigator on over $25 million in U.S. government research contracts and grants across 2 decades. Here to talk about what Dr. Stephen Hawking might have told us might be the end of the humanity is our very special guest. Good morning, Dr. Peter Solomon. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on.
I appreciate your time, sir. Your resume is long, and I could have read more, but the point is, you, as our special guest in hour 2 of the Dr. Sky Experience, talk about this particular warning that you have, and then we'll get into some of the details to support your own statement. Tell us more.
Well, the warning by Stephen Hawking, when I talk about that to friends and colleagues, and I say, do you believe this? And it's kind of startling that most people think it's optimistic. Mm-hmm. So if we really have until 2017 to save us, to save humanity on planet Earth, we need to start getting active in fixing the problems, fixing the threats that we face.
You're so right. But let's talk about one from the astronomical side that many people, of course, weren't around for. And we keep hearing in mainstream and legacy media, every day there's what, Doctor? Some sort of an asteroidal body that's coming close to the Earth. 2029 is Apophis, the Egyptian war god. It will pass in closer than the geosynchronous satellites. It's the size larger than a cruise ship or an aircraft carrier. And obviously 65 million years ago, none of us were here. But an asteroidal impact changed the course of the entire world. Can you imagine, Doctor, the entire climate change that occurred when something like that gave us a dark winter for who knows how long? Describe the asteroidal situation that Stephen Hawking is also in his checklist talking about.
Yes, he did. And we're thankful that our great distant ancestors are mammals that we evolved from lived underground and survived that impact, while the all of the land-dwelling animals that didn't have such cover didn't survive. So we're here because of that.
That's amazing.
But, the asteroid danger is certainly one of the ones that Stephen Hawking worried about. But we do have an answer to that, and we've demonstrated. NASA's DART program successfully took a rocket, launched it, directed it into space, and hit a major asteroid that wasn't really going to collide with Earth, but the idea was to demonstrate that if one was going to collide to Earth, they could change its trajectory. And in fact, they did. The rocket hit the asteroid, and the trajectory was changed enough so that if it was headed for Earth, it would have missed.
Well, I just want to remind. I want to remind the audience, Doctor, that this particular asteroid, so they know, was Dimorphos Didymorphos, which is a binary asteroid, and the reason they chose it, they picked the impactor to hit. It's like a large kinetic, like a giant hammer, so to speak, hitting the surface of one. And tell us the rest of the story. It did indeed give a change to, it moved it in so many words and pushed out a lot of debris. It's fascinating that they can do that.
Yes, and there was enough of an impact so that, and it was far enough away so that a little change in its trajectory would mean that if it was aimed at Earth, it would then be directed away from Earth.
It's pretty scary stuff, Doctor, because, the size, and again, we don't have time to go into all the specifics, but please, you have the floor here. That's why you're our guest. This object that eventually hit Chicxulub in the now called the Gulf of America along the coast area of the Yucatan, allegedly 4 to 5, maybe 6 miles in diameter. And I'm just curious, imagine how long it took for the sun to shine once again. The whole planet was covered in like a dark winter for who knows how long. And that would be an instantaneous extinction for the population of Earth with the repeat that size. Very simply, right?
Well, I believe that the modern theory is that the debris that rocketed into space and then started falling back was billions and billions and billions of meteors, like millions of meteors, all raining down at the same time. The result was a huge heating of the atmosphere.
Wow!
And that is the most recent theory of what killed off the land animals. It's just the atmosphere heated up like a pizza oven, and bye-bye land animals.
Well, Dr. Hawking has some interesting points here that we need to pay attention to. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us here and you're curious who we're speaking with, Dr. Peter Solomon, a scientist and educator and a very successful entrepreneur, as we read his bio before, and not all of it because it's very extensive. His website, this is interesting, and he has lots to say about we need, in his opinion, and probably the opinion of you out there, to heed these type of warnings for the future, for the extinction, potentially, of the human race. His website, 100, the number, yearstoextinction.com. A very interesting hour, 1-800-848-9222. But, Doctor, go ahead. Before we jump onto the callers here, just give us some more of the things that could be in that nasty bag of tricks that Stephen Hawking is warning us about, that we need to do something to prevent extinction.
Well, one of his predictions was that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
Wow.
So I think that artificial intelligence has got to be pretty high up on our list of worries, and it's a fixable problem. We just need to provide, and it has to be worldwide. We have to provide the guardrails, which will keep artificial intelligence under control.
Well, you say it so well, Doctor, because let me say this, every day, and I can't keep up with it. I mean, we have other great guests like yourself talking about this thing called technocracy, and we'll continue to do that proudly. No apologies out there, because it's a subject that people want and do need to know about. But every day, right, Doctor, we're reading so many things about AI. I'm hearing the government, in the big, beautiful bill, there was a whole kind of revolt in the Congress, whether it's Democrat or Republican, where originally the bill drafted said that states could not make any alteration to the the government's mandate for how, this whole AI thing was to be administered. And I don't know enough about it, but I think it was dropped out there, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the listeners know more about that, and certainly maybe you do. I'm very concerned about this, and I don't know why many people, I ask people all the time, Doctor, maybe you do. So many people, this AI thing is so great. Oh, I just love it. Oh, it's making my life so easy. But I don't know. I'm on your side on this. Keep the ball rolling on AI and the problems.
Well, it certainly is a wonderful technology. You mentioned our website, 100 Years to Extinction. If you go to the website, I would ask people to take a look at the music tab. We had a song composed by AI. The lyrics, we then modified them a little bit, put them back, and the AI produced the music and the singing to go along with it. And then we produced by hand some videos to go along with it. So I would say ask our viewers to go take a look at the music column and play the Turn the Tide music video.
Well, Doctor, we can do one better. In about a minute of that entire AI production called Turn the Tide, we offer this to the listeners here of Talk Radio 77 WABC on the Dr. Sky Experience, and here we go. We can cue that up. It's a very interesting piece.
Thank you very much. And It's interesting that maybe 5 years from now, I'll talk later.
No, here we go.
A clock is ticking soft and low. 100 years is all we know. The earth is crying out in pain to stop the tyranny of technology's gain. 100 years before it's too late to control the forces that threaten our fate. Undo the codes we've written wrong and turn the tide before it's gone. Machines that think but cannot feel, they learn to break and learn to steal. A whisper echoes, who will we be? what's left of us if we can't see 100 years before it's too late to control the forces that threaten our fate? Undo the codes we've written wrong and turn the tide before it's gone. We hold the power to destroy or plant the seeds of life with joy. The future bends with every choice. It's time to raise a louder voice.
Interesting. Well, Dr. Peter Solomon, that's interesting to put it into a musical message. And you're telling us what? That was produced by AI? And to tell us that,
yes.
That's amazing.
We have a videographer who was doing a video called The Tyranny of Technology, and he decided he was going to see what happened when he put the 5 technologies that we're worried about into Suno AI, which writes music and song, and see what happens. When he said it to me, I was just blown away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it sounds well. It sounds, a very well-produced piece, but the deeper part of this that we're getting out of it, I am, and I hope the listeners are, is that here we are in the music world talking about something created by AI, but there's also the warning embedded in it. And I'm just wondering, Doctor, what people think about this out there. I mean, it's always the question of the hour. What do you, that is out there in cyberspace and Radioland, theater of the mind, what do you really think about this? Are we hyping something here on this radio show? I don't think so. The doctor's not. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Simply this. Do you, listeners far and wide around the nation and the world, have concerns about what could be the causation of what they're, Dr. Hawking talked about? He's not with us anymore. And I think he had something good to say, right?
So my question is, in 5 years, can we get AI to write a song warning us about AI?
Right, exactly. It might be censorship, right?
Yeah.
Well, here it is, Doctor. This is something I read, and please, the listeners out there can correct me on this. I don't have that. I'm not reading this information. It's just from what I had talked about in other shows, that apparently some AI engine, there was a person who helped create it. And what they were doing there is that they had some way that the AI was either spying on them, and the other person who was in the room, I guess another person who wanted to play a trick on the other person who created it, said, hey, let's go ahead and just disconnect the AI. And I can't believe what I'm about to say, and I think it's accurate, that the AI mentioned back that if you turn me off, I'm going to reveal about a affair that somebody's having back there, and they don't want to hear that. That'll ruin their life. Oh, my God, Doctor, this is very scary, if indeed that's true.
2001 all over again. I'm sorry.
Right. There you go, my friend.
I can't do that.
You bet. So let me go back here real quick, and sorry to cut you short here. Let's talk a little bit about your background, because you're coming to this. You don't have to do this. I mean, you could sit and retire and be on the beach all day long, right? I mean, look at your career. And again, I'm not kissing up. I'm just reading this. You obviously a PhD in physics. You're a man who knows the letters. You understand how the universe works, maybe more than some. Why your passion for this? I mean, just tell us. It must be ingrained in your DNA, obviously. Let me hear your answer.
Yeah, I think so. But the other part of it is that I've got 12 grandkids.
Okay,
and
that's good.
I would kind of like them and their kids to have an Earth to live on in 2017. So
2117, right? So we qualify.
2117.
Right. Also, it'd already be over if it was 2017, right? Yes.
Let me just explore the AI thing just for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
We human beings have about 90 billion neurons in our brains connected, and if we believe that our consciousness and our sentient nature is basically the chemistry of those 90 billion neurons, and it's basically just chemistry. Mm-hmm. And if we believe that, then how about looking at the modern NVIDIA chip that's got 20 billion, 200 billion transistors for one chip, and ChatGPT that's got 30,000 of these NVIDIA chips all connected together. Mm-hmm. Are they going to out the 30,000 times 200 billion? Or is that going to, at some point, just totally outthink a human being with a mere 90 billion neurons?
No, I mean, you bring it up in a mathematical equation. You're right. So the power of the computer is what? Logarithmically way above the scale of what the human brain can achieve. And obviously, I'm concerned about the monster in the box, not necessarily the benefactor in the box. Correct.
Right. And so that's the issue, that the programs are not written. I think there's one company that has its AI has a constitution that puts the guardrails on what it can do and can't do. This is sort of like built into our DNA, the fundamental needs for nourishment and shelter and friendship and success. We need to build that into the constitution of these AI systems so that they don't play tricks on human beings. They don't get together and decide, we don't need humans anymore. We can control the robot factories, and we can get all the robots to do all of the mechanical work that the humans do. Why mess around with them?
No, so, Dr. Peter Solomon, you're correct here, and this is a big scare. But again, we got about a minute before we go to the heartbreak here. But I just like to jump in, and we'll maybe have to save the answer in its entirety in depth when we come back. But here's the point. Then who's guarding the hen house, as they say? Who's watching the chicken coop? Who's protecting us? And then who are the people that are not in accordance with this? Not by name. I mean, I don't want you to name them on here because we certainly don't want to see lawsuits fly over a show that's trying to do good here. But, hey, stranger things have happened. But the interesting thing is we really have to be very careful. And you've just scratched the surface, because when we come back, we have a whole bunch of other things that we're going to add here that you go and extrapolate on Stephen Hawking's warning about this whole extinction by the year 2117, which is not all that far away, ladies and gentlemen. And AI is just one of them. Dr. Peter Solomon, this is awesome. We'll be back after the commercial announcements here. And we also, as the phone lines are lighting up here, 1-800-848-9222. We'll get to Alexi in Queens and all of you on there that want to talk with Dr. Peter Solomon about why he believes this is true. His website, 100yearstoextinction.com. We'll be right back.
The Dr. Sky Experience on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
The Dr. Sky Experience.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And 30 minutes after the hour, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dr. Sky Experience. Always great guests, as you tell us. Email me at just drsky@wabcradio.com. And to listen to our podcast, you tell us in the emails you enjoy it. Simply go to wabcradio.com and redappleaudionetworks.com, not just for the Dr. Sky Experience, but from all the great hosts that are here on this powerhouse radio station. Here's a special treat, ladies and gentlemen, before we get back to our very special guest. In case you're curious what happened to our Sky update, this one beams itself down to all the listeners in the New York City area, particularly in the island of Manhattan. As you know, maybe or maybe not, a special event happens a couple of times a year called Manhattanhenge. Not Stonehenge, but something interesting. On July the 12th, which will be tonight right there in the New York Manhattan area, if you are standing on streets looking from the east to the west, 14th Street, 23rd, 34th, 42nd, and 57th Street, when the sun sets at 8:22, be there early, have a pair of sunglasses, and if you want to get a picture, you would see that sun, or partially that sun, beaming itself down through the big mountainous caverns of man-made buildings. Something called Manhattanhenge, July 12th, 8:22 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 32 minutes after the hour, we continue here with our conversation with Dr. Peter Solomon. Let's welcome our special callers here as we say good morning to Alexi in Queens. You're on with Dr. Solomon. How are you this morning?
Yes, good morning. I have a question for Dr. Solomon. Has he ever seen the movie Colossus, The Forbin Project?
No, I have not.
Tell us, Alexi.
I recommend you go first thing tomorrow to a video place and you get coffee and you watch it. This is exactly what AI portends for the human race. They build a supercomputer to defend the United States. Oh, it's impenetrable. Oh, it's got 5,000 cubic feet of this and that. It's so high tech. Right. And it protects us from everything. And sure enough, slowly, over time, the creator of this thing learns that the computer is building a personality of its own. And so the machine becomes somewhat egomaniac and decides that for the best interest of the human race, I'm going to control you by threatening to launch atomic rockets and blow this country to pieces if you do not obey me. And Russia has a similar computer. They link up, and the whole world finished. The human race finished.
Yes, and you bring it up, Alexi. Not to cut the good doctor off here, but I got to jump in on this one. We are so close. It's incredible. Humankind created these massive arsenals of nuclear warheads. And all it takes, right, Alexi, and right, doctor, just somebody with a temper or some other nefarious thing, or somebody who launches without permission. It's like, what did they say? The atomic scientist, doctor, said that the clock was almost, to a minute to midnight, which is the end of times? I mean, tell me about that. That's amazing. That's amazing stuff.
That is the doomsday clock was started by Einstein and Oppenheimer shortly after the development of the atomic bomb. I think it was 7 minutes when they started, 7 minutes to doom, to midnight, and now it's 90 seconds to midnight.
Wow.
So that certainly the nuclear one of the things in the song and the movie that we produced, and also I have a book coming out in September called 100 Years to Extinction, and it deals, basically the idea is that it's a story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise is our politics and our social ability. The hare is our science and technology. The tortoise is stuck in the 19th century, and the hare is zooming ahead in the 21st century. So we had fossil fuels to start, that wonderful technology that gave us comfort and transportation. And then we had nuclear technology that's got wonderful nuclear medicines. And then the internet and social media for great communication. And then AI, and then genetic engineering. Each of those technologies has got enormous risks to the existence of humans on Earth.
Well, let me add something here, Alexei, if you're still with us here, and I know the good doctor may know this, but the Russians have a missile, which at least I think it's real, called the Sarmat, or the Satan. It's probably the longest of one of the intercontinental ballistic missiles. It has 12 capable MIRVs. These are individual, they look like little cones that sit on the top, with easily, some say, 500 kiloton to 1 megaton weapons, nuclear warheads, that are independently capable of being targeted. So let's say, God forbid, it was shot at New York or any other place that they would shoot it at. This is serious stuff. So what do? We build more bombs to counter the other bombs. And the whole point, gentlemen, is this. I'm not a genius at this, but again, it goes back to common sense. All it takes is one bad actor or somebody who misinterprets something emotionally, and the whole thing goes up in what you're talking about, Doctor. Alexei, you get the last word. Go ahead.
If you see what happened with Trump when he go to Iran and he dropped these super bombs, not atomic, but super bombs, 16 ton, 100 ton, whatever, on the Iranian nuclear development program. The reason is he does not give a damn about them. He's not worried about them. He sends a message to the world that this is what we are going to do to you if you are a threat.
Let's hope.
Put this out. No, he put this out as a bold threat that any country, including Russia will not be here much longer. He's going to big revolution. I have contacts in many parts of Europe, and they're telling me the Russian people are going berserk. They have not. They killed 60 of his executive people, his top people.
You're exactly right, and some of them jump off of buildings, right? That's a suicide technology.
Yeah. So the point is, this was a signal. Trump sent a signal to the world saying, if you're going to be a threat, we don't care. We are going to remove the threat. This is for Russia. This is for China. Believe me. I hope to God in Almighty that the only nuclear war we ever have is the one with Japan in the World War II.
And in the most amazing line from Dr. Strangelove, if you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, the black and white only version, that's all I ever saw. Peter Sellers plays multiple parts, and of course, George C. Scott. But there's a scene that, gentlemen and people listening, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil the whole movie. They're in the war room, and the president, under Peter Sellers, as an actor, are all arguing, the Russians and the Americans, and what does the president say in a laughable way? Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. And that was, of course, a different sense of comedy. Alexei, thank you for your call. We're going to move forward. Dr. Solomon, we're going to now go to Robert in Suffolk. Robert, good morning. You're on with Dr. Peter Solomon.
Good morning, gentlemen. I found it interesting, your mathematical comparison between the neurons and silicon junctions. They're not the same, though.
Okay.
Bring us together on this, gentlemen. What are we talking about? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you could say that both are limited by the speed of light. Would that be scientifically correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're both electrical connections.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand the point, and maybe I'm not hearing you clearly, Robert. There's a clicking somewhere out there in cyberspace. That's why I think I lost you. But, Doctor, did you hear what Robert was actually asking? I didn't hear that.
Well, they clearly are different. One is neurons with chemistry that makes the connections. The other is transistors. But while physically they're different, functionally they can do all the same things. So if we think that the human brain is basically chemistry, well, then we can do it with transistors, which are electrical. So one of the things, we shouldn't leave the hour without saying, is there anything we can do about this?
Oh, no, we'll get to that, Doctor. I promise you, because we don't like negativity. In other words, we can talk about disasters. We can talk about all premonitions of bad things to come, but we want to hear about positives. I promise you we'll get to those solutions before the top of the hour.
Okay.
Robert, your final comment? Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
So one thing about...
they are different, though.
Yeah, they are different.
There is the random factor that is in the human brain, which is not present in a programmed machine.
Well said. Biology versus computer. Brain versus AI. All kinds of stuff. Robert, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to cut the conversation short after Doctor's response. Go ahead, sir.
There was a fascinating interview on 60 Minutes. Scott Pelley was interviewing the guy who runs, I think it was the BARD program. And they were demonstrating how wonderful the AI was. And there was some fantastic stuff. And Pelley says, well, how does it do that? And the guy answers, well, we're not quite sure. Mm-hmm. There's also two surveys of experts in AI asked about the dangers, and half of them said there was sort of a 10% chance of human extinction. Mm-hmm. So I think we've got to take this idea that the AI systems can become conscious and sentient and decide their own fate and not just follow what us humans want them to do unless we put the controls in to the programs.
Robert, thank you for your participation here. I appreciate your time with the Dr. Sky Experience. You know, Doctor, this is interesting. When we come back in a moment or two from the break, I just want to have you continue on with some of the other extinctive possibilities. But on a very positive note, you're an author. And what we'll talk about, too, is the mystery, the Stardust mystery, and the race to the Big Bang, books of positivity for children. So this is something else that we can explore with our youngsters, that they can learn about good things that we believe in the world of science to help them become the next scientist. And who knows, maybe the next clarion call from future scientists like Dr. Mike Hawking is giving us here. This is his theory, and so much more. We got a couple of minutes before the break, so continue on, and then we'll follow up with you and other people who may want to join us. Feel free to join the dialogue, 1-800-848-9222. Doctor, tell us briefly some of the other quick things that are going on in the extinction.
Genetic engineering, absolutely marvelous. Produced the vaccine for COVID-19 in, I think, 3 months, where previous vaccines took 5 years to create. Absolutely fantastic. But one of the problems is that it is apparently dead easy to use, and a company called the Odin has a kit for hobbyists, a genetic engineering kits with full CRISPR-Cas9 technology, which is what Jennifer Doudna won the Nobel Prize for. So are we going to see designer babies? Are we going to see new humanoid species, new bioweapons? All of
strange
these things,
new world. No, you're
a
right.
strange new world. And
Doctor, we got to take that break. I do apologize to everybody. It seems like maybe we're talking over each other, but unfortunately, with no apology, what do we know, Doctor? The clock rules. We'll be right back here on the Dr. Sky Experience.
The Dr. Sky Experience on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rated T for teen.
Each year, thousands of adults lose their shred. It's an epidemic simply known as shred loss. But it doesn't have to be this way, because rekindling your shred is as easy as playing the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. With new parks, cross-platform multiplayer, and sick new game modes, we can put an end to shred loss everywhere. Get the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and show the world that the shred's not dead. Get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 available now.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
The Dr. Sky Experience.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
47 minutes after the hour. Excuse me, we continue here on the Dr. Sky Experience. Always great guests, as you tell us. Email me with your questions and comments also, if you didn't have a chance to get in the conversation and dialogue. Dr. Peter Solomon continues to the top of the hour. You were saying, Doctor, before the break, you're talking about all other things that we need to pay attention to if we're indeed going to march toward extinction, as Stephen Hawking said, possibly as early as 2117, excuse me.
21, yeah. So my book cover has I wrote a book about 3 young Gen Z, 2 sisters and a cousin, who have a trauma in the family, and it causes them to awaken. One of the sisters is kind of a geek and knows all about Hawking and his prediction, and they decide that it's up to their generation, their parents' generation, their grandparents' generation, have screwed up the world, and if the world's going to be saved, it's the Gen Zs that's got to do it. So that's what the book is about. The cover shows an evolution, the modern evolution, starting from the monkey to the great ape to the human, but then, the genetic engineering produced a super species that wiped out the humans, and then along came the robots and wiped out the super species. And then I sort of imagined the world now run by robots. They inhabit all the planets in the Milky Way and are running the world. And they meet up with another robot civilization from another galaxy. And in the discussion, they say, isn't it amazing that both of our civilizations were started by animals?
Interesting indeed. Wow, Dr. Solomon, you bring up so many good points here. Let's jump in on the callers because they rule on any show, at least on this one, the Dr. Sky Experience. We say good morning to Ron in Manhattan. You're on with Dr. Peter Solomon. How are you this morning?
Very well, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. My question is about an event that happened in November 9 of 1965. The East Coast was hit by a massive blackout, and I was 25 at the time, and I recall they elaborated on what was taking place, and you know how the media was back then, nothing like today, and the information was sparse, but they did say that there was the blackout because something out in space was coming toward the Earth, and they had to activate some kind of a ray or a system and aim it out into space to break this up and make it into particles before it hit the Earth. And everybody that I was talking to at that time, you know, we all said, gee, what is this all about? And then it
exactly
out, and nobody ever talked about it anymore. Are any of you gentlemen aware of that? And what was the outcome?
Well, let me jump in here. Ron, before the good doctor says something, I lived that experience as a child in Manhattan. I was coming out of an office, and not to stand on a soapbox, I did a lot of television and modeling at the time, and I came out of the agent's office along Fifth Avenue. And no, it did happen. I couldn't believe it. As I'm a young boy, I look up, and all the lights along Fifth Avenue are going out. People are screaming in the subways. And I spent the night at the Roosevelt Hotel. I don't know how my father ever found us because we lived in Jackson Heights at the time. But yeah, I lived that experience.
Yeah.
Right, but here's the deal. It was so strange. All I can say, Doctor, is that, Dr. Solomon, somebody said that there was a power transformer systems or something that failed, to go on to Ron's comment. But, Doctor, talk about this. Maybe you experienced it too, or you have a comment.
I don't know about that one, but I do know about one that happened in 1859, I believe. It was the Carrington event.
Correct.
And that is a serious threat. This is mega solar flares. We actually had a large solar flare so that the aurora borealis was visible in places like New York, where it normally is only visible in Alaska. But that event, these solar flares, there's a 20% probability every 100 years that we'll have one. Well, in 1859, it wiped out the whole telegraph system. Imagine
You're exactly right. Yeah.
What it would do today to all of the satellites and our digital system and our electrical grid. We need to be prepared. I think they do have some preparation for this, but who knows? We could have one of these that would help to create more world chaos.
Well, Ron in Manhattan here, before we let you go here, and thanks for being part of the show. Not only my story, a living testimonial to that, so many other people experienced it. But to go back to what you were saying, no known spacecraft object was ever, in my mind, I don't think the doctor, would disagree. It was basically some sort of power transmission or something by Niagara Falls that somehow got out. And it also happened again in New York City. I was there, too, in 1977. To all of our good brothers and sisters in the New York City area, we know I think that happened in July of 77. But again, for that one, Ron, that was weird. But you get the last word if you're still with us. Thanks for bringing us updated.
We still had another one, August 14th in 2003. What do you think
wow.
of that one?
I never knew about that one. See, I'm not always on everything. But I'm a fellow New Yorker, even though I live 2,159 miles from the station. There you go. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd like to say one thing about something we could do in the 1960s.
Yes, we want to get
I think the defining movement of the 20th century was the civil rights movement. That really was dramatic in the 60s. I think the 21st century, our movement has got to be to prevent extinction. We need to, like they created the Peace Corps in the 1960s, we need to create an Earth Corps to start getting the message out so that people can become aware and help to do things that will put the regulations in place and put the preventative measures in place so that we have a chance of surviving the threats that we have.
Doctor, you're always welcome here. I mean, this is interesting, and not to talk ridiculous or what. Everybody knows that these are the problems that we face, at least from the human side. But overpopulation, horrible wars, it's a simple thing. Some people laugh when we say, why can't we all just get along? I mean, there has to be some way in this future, because with overpopulation, I don't know, I'm a little bit on the negative side when I hear, Musk talk about colonizing Mars. I mean, as a science person myself, and I think people out there have their own opinions, a 9-month journey with a small crew, some have even signed up for one way. I think we're talking really 100, 200 years into the future to be able to sustain life, even though I agree with Hawking. He's basically saying, what, Doctor? Let's get off the planet, because we have another problem, which is what? Overpopulation. What do we have, 7.9 or almost 8 billion souls running around down here?
Yeah, but the youngsters do seem to be helping by not having so many babies.
Okay. So you get the last word. Tell us some of the positives of what we all need to do in addition to what you just said as the clock runs out, sir.
Well, I think we have a whole bunch of, maybe there are 100 different organizations all working on climate change. I think they have to expand the message to the other threats that we have, and they have to start getting together to create one movement. To really put by combining, they could create enormous power in terms of getting people to demonstrate, to write their letters, to vote, to be aware, to do the education to make people aware of all these things. So I think we need to harness those organizations to put out the Earth core and to really try to make a movement like we did with the civil rights movement.
Well, you bring up some good points. I mean, we don't get partisan on this particular show. Obviously, if you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, or you're an independent, or maybe you're a part of another party, obviously you have a right to state your purpose and, of course, your position. And that's what we always appreciate about the First Amendment here in the good old United States of America. But this is interesting, Doctor. I want people to know, once again, they can go to your website, 100 Years to Extinction, the number 100 written out, 100, years to extinction.com, and give it a try. Turn the Tide video, which is into a music score, you claim made by AI, which is interesting. And maybe in the future, the AI will shut off that particular music. So what? Listen to it while you can, right?
Right.
Well, I appreciate you. Look, we got a couple of minutes here, but I appreciate you, especially since you're up very early, as many people are, still on the West Coast. We're still moving through, obviously, Friday night and Saturday morning. And who knows, around the world, Doctor, or who knows who's listening out in the cosmos. You ever think of that? There may be that possibility, too, right?
Well, the book that I wrote that is going to be out in September, one of the things we do is put the whole of humanity, the humanity arc, into a DNA data storage. If we did it with modern external hard drives, we're talking about something like 30 Empire State Buildings full of drives to put the whole humanity archive. But if you do it with DNA data storage, you can put it in a softball. So one of the things we do in the book is we make the modern message in a bottle with our humanity archive, some samples of DNA, a thesaurus so that the information can be interpreted by an alien civilization, and we shoot out all of these into these little message in a bottles into the universe, so somewhere another civilization could see what we've done.
Well said, Dr. Peter Solomon. He's a scientist, an educator, and an entrepreneur, and also an author. One more time, and proud to say it, 100 Years to Extinction.com. Learn so much more on his website. And I want to thank Tony, our navigator and helmsman, navigating this incredible signal, a very powerful powerhouse 77 WABC. As we say, always remember to keep your eyes to the skies. We'll fill you in, ladies and gentlemen, on our next edition in less than 24 hours as the clock at midnight turns to 2 a.m. Sunday morning with the Dr. Sky Experience. Health and happiness and peace to all.
Thanks for listening to the Dr. Sky Experience. You can hear the Dr. Sky Experience Saturday mornings, midnight to 2 a.m. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.